I've been helping Bernie with the radio project on the new class advisor to KWWH.
What happened to Pete?
Oh, he talked fast and I went for it.
Cesario, by the roses of the spring, by Mayhood, honor, truth, and everything. I love thee so that maugre all thy pride. Nor wit nor reason can my passion hide.
By innocence I swear, and by my youth I have one heart, one bosom.
I'm sorry, Miss Johnson. We just can't do it.
We can't say these lines to each other.
All right, all right. Thanks for staying late. We'll try it again tomorrow, okay? Oh, hi.
What's that all about?
Well, it's an experiment. You see, I thought it'd be a terrific idea if we did a production of Twelfth Night, like they did in Shakespeare's day. You know, when men played all the parts.
It's an interesting idea. You have to remember, though, that in Shakespeare's day, men had to play the parts because women weren't allowed to be actresses. Those restrictions don't really apply here at Walt Whitman.
Don't think it's a good idea, huh?
No, it's interesting, but I gotta warn you, you're really asking for trouble.
Don't you see how it fits the mood?
It's far out, because I was really only thinking of using just music.
Why? The sound effects make it so much more realistic. We can get foghorns and crowd noises, trains dripping faucets.
That's really good, Howard.
Good morning.
Oh, hi, Miss McIntyre.
Hi, how's it going?
You couldn't have found me a better assistant. In fact, it's working out that I'm just helping him.
Come on, Bernie.
What an actor. And when we're timing, he takes all the parts. And he does them so well, I almost forget what I'm doing.
Really? Had you ever acted before, Howard?
No, not really. I used to think about it, but...
You should hear him. He does everything. Kids, old people, everything.
Oh, do tell.
Do not extort thy reasons from this clause, for that I woo, thou therefore hast no cause. But rather reason with reason fetter. Love sought is good, but given unsought is better.
You see what I mean?
Yes, he's very good.
By innocence I swear, and by my youth I have one heart, one bosom, and one truth. And that no woman has, nor never none shall mistress be of it save I alone. So adieu, good madam. Nevermore will I my master's tears to you deplore.
Yet come again, for thou perhaps mayst move that heart, which now abhors, to like that love.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's simple and convincing. I'm really amazed.
Thanks.
Will you do the part?
Oh, I'd like to, but I am supposed to be working with Bernie.
Oh, that's okay. We can work around it.
Good, good. Okay, everybody dismissed.
It's weird. I've been jiving, man. You swear the dude was a chick. Everybody's trying to see her.
So, what's wrong with that?
Nothing. I just wish I had the concessions.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, step up and see the freak show.
You know what I can't really figure out is how you do it so good.
What?
You know, play a chick.
Oh, I don't know, it's just acting. I just pretend I'm the person I'm playing.
Those guys really think it's funny.
Yeah.
Boy, there sure are a lot of creeps in this world.
Yeah, there sure are. Let's go, Howard.
Use lunch hours to work on the radio script. I'll be able to do both. What do you think, Bernie?
Yeah, that's okay. Hi, Bernice.
No, it's starting on you.
Yeah, well, like Kellen says, they're a bunch of creeps. Listen, I'll see you at lunch, okay?
Right. See ya.
Hey, Bernie,
What?
pass it on to your friend.
Hey, I'm gonna pass something on to you in about 3 seconds. Hey, Bernie, what's the matter? Can't you take a joke? Sure, when you tell me what's so funny.
Man, are you kidding?
Hey, are you trying to say what I think you are?
You figure it out. You ever seen him with a girl?
So he's shy. Oh, man.
You ever see him out for a sport or in a gym class? Now put that all together and then look at how he grooves on playing a girl. Now, you gotta be pretty dumb not to think he's...
According to Jason, the American Revolution and the Hungarian Revolution had a lot in common politically. Does anyone agree?
Yeah, man, we wasn't too shy sticking our nose in Vietnam. And how come dropping a few plane load of supplies to the Hungarians was such a big deal?
Anybody got an answer for that?
Do you have the answer, Mr. Dixon?
Bad timing, maybe. The Korean War was still fresh in people's minds. Mark, you and Steve seem to be having your own private little party back there. Would you care to share it?
No. No, sorry, Mr. Dixon.
Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. There'll be a written exam on Friday.
It's a rose.
I see.
Yeah, well,
Those guys giving you a rough time, Howard?
no. Just that I'm doing the play and they're kidding around. I can take a joke.
Good. It always helps to have a sense of humor.
See you, Mr. Dixon. What's going on? Hey, get off my locker.
Thing that's happened in this school that makes me as mad as this.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same way.
Do you have any idea who might have done it?
Well, the two kids that I might have suspected were in my class at the time it was written.
I hate sneaks. Well, another thing I hate to mention, Pete. But I guess we better know. Do we have one problem or two?
What do you mean?
I mean, in your opinion, is Howard a homosexual?
Well, in my opinion, I have no idea. All I know is that Howard is a nice, decent kid, and he's a good student. And he was very hurt by all this.
Well, let's find out what we can. Have you had a chance to talk to him yet?
I tried, but he was too busy washing off his locker and pretending it was all a big joke.
A joke? Oh, beautiful.
Well, anyway, Liz is going to have a meeting with him this afternoon.
Well, that's good. Maybe something will come of that.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Right. I hate sneaks.
So do I.
Hey, Bernie.
Oh, hi, Howie.
Weren't we supposed to work during lunch?
Yeah, well, I had to take care of something else. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I knew it had to be something.
Yeah, well, I should have let you know, but you see, I had this other project at lunchtime.
Don't sweat it, Bernie. I had something else during lunch. So,
Yeah, well, we'll catch up on it later on, okay?
all right. Later on.
Howard, I'd like you to consider taking more science courses next semester.
Oh. What's wrong with the fine arts program I've chosen? Not masculine enough.
I was referring to your SATs. You scored in the upper 10 percentile, and I didn't want you to overlook any area where you showed promise.
I'm sorry.
Howard, you want to talk about it? I'm here to help. And I'd like to if I can.
How do you figure on helping me, Miss McIntyre? Can you make me into some kind of all-American hero? So people look up at me and say immediately, that's a man? Can you cure my asthma?
Howard, that...
Can you make me stronger? Can you show me how to talk to girls without feeling like a fool?
No, I can't. But if you feel changes are necessary, I guess you have to make them. Hello? Oh, Mrs. Martinez.
Howard? Howard! I've been looking for you. I'm sorry about what's happened. Yeah, I sort of feel responsible.
No, you're not.
I know I'm not, really. But if it hadn't been for the play...
Don't worry about it, Miss Johnson. I'm not going to.
Good.
I'm dropping out of the play.
Yes, Mrs. Martinez. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, thank you. Goodbye.
Howard just told me that he's dropping out of the play.
Well, could be worse. At least he's not dropping out of school.
Well, right now, I wish I were dropping out of school.
Yeah, me too. You know, sometimes this job can be so frustrating. I'm supposed to be a counselor, right? A boy in trouble comes to me and I can't find a way to help him. What do I do?
This whole thing makes me so mad.
It makes all of us mad, including Howard.
Good. I mean, maybe if he gets mad enough, he'll do something about it.
Alice, you just said a mouthful.
Well, it's kind of late in the season to go out for the track team.
Does that make me ineligible?
No. Not if you really want to try.
Oh, I do, Coach. I really do.
Okay. Report for practice tomorrow at 4.
Okay, I'll be there.
Hi, Howard.
Helen. Listen, I know this is kind of sudden, and I understand if you say no. So don't worry about hurting my feelings.
What are you talking about?
Do you want to go to the movies Friday night?
Sure.
7:30?
Okay.
Listen, if you don't want to, I understand.
Howard, I said okay.
Thank you.
See you later.
Okay, guys. Howard here wants to try out for the team. So let's try to get a time on him. Line up over there, Howard.
What's going on, man? You gotta see this, that's all.
On your mark. Set. Go.
You better go back to playing chess.
You all right?
Yeah.
What happened?
Asthma.
You got asthma that bad and you go out for the track team? What are you trying to prove?
Oh, nothing. Not anymore.
You all right? Sure?
Well, maybe not. Listen, maybe we ought to call it off for Friday.
Why?
Well, I don't think I'm going to be up to it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Some other time, maybe.
Yeah. Sure.
Read chapters 11 and 12. That's all. Oh, Howard? You're a little late on the term project. Anything wrong?
I wasn't feeling too good. I'll get it in.
I hear you quit the play.
Yeah. My sense of humor isn't quite what I thought it was.
And the radio project? And the tryouts for the track team?
Yeah, well, I figured it'd be better to conserve my energy.
For what? More quitting?
Listen, Mr. Dixon. I realize you and Miss McIntyre are only trying to be helpful. But there's no use talking about it. I tried to be something that I wasn't. It didn't work out.
How about being just what you are?
That's very interesting. I mean, I don't know what I am. Do you? I know what my name is. I know where I live, what I like to do. But what am I, Mr. Dixon? According to them, I'm just an it.
I think you're a boy about to become a man.
Yeah, that's the magic word. Listen, since I don't seem to fit anyone's bill, maybe you can give me a definition. Please, tell me, what is a man?
Howard, there are as many answers to that question as there are men. Some people think it's one who has courage and can face responsibility. Others think it's anyone who can chase girls. Look, Howard, I can't define to you what a man is. It's just something that you'll have to feel.
But I don't feel it, Mr. Dixon.
How old are you?
16.
I realize that it doesn't all hang together right away, but give it time. It will.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
Come on, I'll walk you out.
I'll see you later, Mr. Dixon.
Okay, Howard.
Hi, Mr. Dixon.
Hi, Bertie.
Mr. Dixon. I guess Howard told you what a rat I am.
No, as a matter of fact, you didn't.
Well, I'm saying I'm a rat, okay?
Okay.
I mean, I really feel bad about it.
A lot of people do, Bertie.
I don't know how it all happened.
Then let me tell you. See, Howard Foster was accused of being a homosexual. You were his only friend, you ran out on him. Why?
I don't know. There was no reason for me to act like that. I'm gonna make it up to him.
Dixon, come quick. Howard Foster's fighting.
Come on, Fairy. Hit me back. Hit me back.
Oh, no. I know I can't beat you up, you big stupid lug. So why even try?
Howie, you need any help?
No, I don't. I may not be able to fight this baboon, but I'm not gonna have anybody do it for me. And I'm not gonna run away either. Thanks for the offer, Bernie.
Howie, you can't be...
I said I'd handle it and I'd take off.
Boy, you are really begging for it, aren't you?
Oh, sorry. But you don't scare me anymore. You already shot your best shot. You made me feel pretty bad about myself. You're not gonna make me feel any worse.
Okay, man. Figures you wouldn't want to fight anyway.
Oh, I want to fight! But not on your terms.
Hey, look. I am leaving you alone. What do you want from me?
I want to know if by putting me down, it makes you all feel like men. I want to know if writing on my locker is your standard for real guts.
What's gotten into him?
Nothing that wasn't there before.
I call it cheap and gutless. And if that's the best way you had to make yourselves look good, then you're welcome to it. Do you really think I play the girl's part in the play? If I were really trying to hide what you say I am? Why don't you think on that one? And even if you could make something of it, what about you? I notice you guys out in the football field when you win a game. All over each other, hugging and kissing. Suppose people picked up on that and made something of it. What would you say? Oh, that's different. That's sport. Well, it's no good. It's what anybody wants to make of it. I'm not so sure what a man is, but I do know what he isn't, and that's you.
Pete.
Oh, well, it was my fault, dear. I kidnapped him. I sometimes do that with attractive young men.
Hey, where's Liz?
Oh, she went to a counselor's conference.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Good morning. I want to thank you all for coming here this morning, especially since it was voluntary. I'll get right to the point. As some of you know, Whitman High is cooperating with the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health in launching a really serious campaign against the #1 teenage health problem today, venereal disease. Now, we need teachers. It's as simple as that. I might as well give you the rough part first. Those who are interested would have to attend a seminar this weekend where you'll be given special materials, techniques of instruction. Miss Johnson?
Where will the seminar be held, Mr. Kaufman?
Well, I'd like to say Hawaii with all expenses paid, but it's Anaheim. Mr. Gerard.
Mr. Kaufman, say we give up a weekend and go to this seminar. Is it going to do any good? Well, I mean, other schools have tried to start these classes, but there's so much red tape involved.
Then we're just going to have to cut through the red tape, Mr. Gerard. 1 out of 5 graduating seniors in Los Angeles County has some form of venereal disease.
1 out of 5?
The national figure is 1 out of 10 youngsters between the ages of 15 and 24 will contract venereal disease this year.
Wow, that's really shocking. Are you going to go?
Oh, well, I'd like to, but I promised to help my mother move this weekend.
What we're asking of you is this weekend plus 3 hours a week for the next several months. I know that's rough, but on the other side of the ledger, you'll have the satisfaction of knowing that you're helping to fight against a terrible disease. Any volunteers?
I'll go. Well, what's the matter with the rest of you? Didn't you hear Mr. Kaufman? 1 out of 5 children in this county is sick. Now, if he were talking about polio and you could do something to prevent it, you'd all be raising your hands, wouldn't you? Well, that's better. Miss Johnson.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Miss Huggins.
This respect for the individual in democracy lay at the roots of the reform movement which you have read about in this chapter.
You mean you have read about in this chapter?
I beg your pardon. Jason?
Well, what he's trying to say is that Mr. Dixon usually lets us rap about the material in the book, Mr. Gerard.
Mr. Gerard,
Yes, Kim?
well, you said Mr. Dixon was attending a conference, but you didn't say how long he'd be gone. And, well, we were just wondering when...
When you can start rapping again.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
What kind of a conference is it?
Venereal disease, actually. Whitman High will be offering classes in how to prevent any such occurrence occurring. Mr. Dixon will be back tomorrow.
Hey, Joe Bob. Hey, did you bring a guitar today?
Yep. Good, because I wanted you to teach me the chords to that thing you were playing the other day, okay?
Sure doesn't talk much, does he?
Nope.
Cindy!
Oh, hi, Joe Bob.
Could I see you a minute?
Sure.
You know, I was telling you how I was doing some whittling. And, well, I just thought you might like this little bird here.
Gee, that's very sweet of you, Joe Bob. What kind of bird is this exactly? I mean, it looks like a...
That's a chicken. Couldn't you tell that?
Well, I haven't seen a whole lot of them.
Would you like to go to the movies tonight?
I can't tonight. But I'll tell you what. if you can get tickets for that rock concert Thursday night, maybe I can make it.
Well, right, fine then. Okay. That's a deal now.
Now, what I'm going to require of you in this composition is more than just grammar and punctuation and spelling. I want to see the inside of your heads. I want to share your fantasies with you. In short, don't be afraid to use your imaginations. Keiko, in your case, perhaps a little less imagination and a little more attention to the proper use of the subjunctive clause.
Gotcha, Miss Huggins.
Oh, Joe Bob, would you help me here a minute?
Be a pleasure, ma'am.
I thought if you put this box up on the desk, I'd put some of the posters up. Thank you. Joe Bob?
Yes, ma'am. You suppose I could have some of them pamphlets for a friend of mine?
Of course you can. Your friend going to sign up for the clinic?
No, ma'am. He'd like to, but his daddy, my friend's daddy, sure wouldn't go for it.
I see. Joe Bob? Have your friend read these and tell him to see this doctor right away, just in case.
Well, ma'am, I don't know about that.
Well, it's a free clinic, Joe Bob. Parents don't have to be notified. That's the law.
Well, I sure will tell him. Much obliged.
I mean, here we are, educators in the middle of an epidemic. And, well, we discover, or at least I did anyway, that I know hardly anything about the subject.
I'll second that. Did you know that a woman may have gonorrhea for years, pass it on to other people, and never even know she has it?
No, as a matter of fact, I didn't.
The symptoms are slight and they pass in a few days. Only a blood test will reveal the infection.
And yet this disease, easily cured by penicillin, has made more people blind than any other disease except trachoma. And it's all totally preventable.
Just by getting more information around.
Which is more easily said than done.
Yes, that's what I meant about red tape.
I'm glad you're here, Jerry. You can help.
Oh, certainly, Mr. Kaufman. I'm always happy to help. Doing what?
Oh, probably stuffing envelopes. Pete, you're in charge of getting the notices out.
What notices?
Notices to the parents. Well, there goes 2 weeks before we can even get started.
Better make that 3 weeks, because by the time the notices have been signed and returned, and you've heard from all the parents who want to see your material, it'll take longer than you think.
Will someone tell me what you're talking about?
What we're talking about is the section of the educational code which says that parents have to be notified in writing before their kids can come to a class in which human reproduction is mentioned.
Human reproduction? Well, yes, I see that, but what has that got to do with VD?
It's a different subject with a different approach, but the law says we need parental consent to talk about it.
Also, all the written material and the visual aids that you're going to use in the course have to be made available to the parents for their inspection before the class starts.
To my mind, it's a tragedy.
Miss Huggins, I don't think that everything that's in here is just right. You know what I mean?
No, I don't, Joe Bob. Tell me.
This ain't the kind of thing a fellow likes to talk about with a woman.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Joe Bob, pretend I'm your old grandma and let's get on with it.
Yes, ma'am. Well, it says here that a person can only catch the disease from being intimate with someone who's got it.
Oh, that is correct.
But that ain't the way I heard it, I tell you. The girl I love and me never did nothing before. Now, how do you explain that?
Well, it may take a while. Sit down, Joe Bob.
Mr. Tully found this VD literature in his son's car. Did you give it to him?
Of course I did.
Of course you did. And did you also have a few impromptu classes with the boy?
You're darn tootin'. I don't know what's been going on in that boy's home life, but certainly the facts of life have not been included in the curriculum.
I'm afraid they're not fully included in ours either, Miss Huggins.
Well, you know what I meant by that, Mr. Kaufman. The boy was sick, and he didn't know what in the world was wrong with him, nor could he possibly imagine how he got that way.
Look, Miss Huggins, I'm on your side 100%. I know you tried to help, but you know we have to have signed parental consent.
So we're in hot water, huh?
I'm afraid so. Mr. Tully called his minister, who called his lawyer. He feels you've violated the law. They've filed charges against you with the State Board of Education.
Kaufman, I am always prepared to answer for the consequences of my actions, although they sometimes surprise me. So, if I am called to appear, I will answer the charges in detail.
Well, if it's any consolation, I'll be there too, okay?
So will I. I don't like the law any better than you do. Vivian, you understand that until the law is changed, we're just stuck with the responsibility of upholding it. Let me ask you something. Since you've established this relationship with the boy, do you suppose you could possibly get him to reveal his contact?
You see, the public health officer was here. And I don't have to tell you how important it is to let the girl know so she can get treatment.
No, you don't have to tell me. I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
I don't believe what you people are telling me. What's the worst thing that could happen if the state board does decide to take action?
She could lose her certification to teach permanently.
That woman has devoted her entire life to teaching. She never wanted to stop. She just wanted to go on substituting till she was like 100 or something. If they put her out to pasture for the rest of her life, it would kill her. Just because of one little mistake? Well, this is not fair. Excuse me.
What for? We all feel the same way. You just said it.
I'm sorry if what I have to say hurts you. Keeping silent the name of a girl who has a disease and needs treatment is not helping her.
No, ma'am. You're not going to snook at me that way. I learned lots of things different since my daddy and me left Manassas. And I guess I've been sort of a figure of fun to some people. But there's one thing ain't nobody gonna tell me is right when I know it's wrong. You don't go shooting your mouth off about a lady, even if she ain't.
You can relax, Joe Bob. Someone else mentioned her name. She's been very cooperative.
Yeah. I bet she has. Excuse me.
I sure wish I could help him.
So do I. Right now, I would prefer you to be thinking about yourself. The Board of Education just called me. There's a preliminary hearing set for you at 1 o'clock downtown on Monday.
You know something? I'm just mad enough to be ready for a good fight.
Miss Huggins,
Yes, sir?
you've heard the charges read against you, which maintain that you willfully and deliberately violated Section 8506 of the California Educational Code. We're prepared to hear your statement now.
Well, that's very kind of you, I'm sure. Well, since the law which I'm accused of violating became effective 2 years ago, I find that only 1% of the parents in other districts objected. This obviously shows overwhelming approval, but it also shows us something a little sad. 115,000 cases of VD among high school kids were reported last year, and assume 1% of the parents refused permission for their child to receive education this year, we may then assume at least 1,150 young people may contact VD needlessly next year. I find that puzzling. We have a law in this state, and in many other states too, which says that a young person ill with VD can receive treatment without his parents being notified. But he can't receive VD education, so he won't need treatment in the same fashion. Seems all turned around to me. So, after 40 years, I've finally broken a rule. I never did before. I didn't mean to break this one, but a boy called out for help and I answered. I'm sorry. It is not a good rule.
I have sat here just about long enough. Is it my turn to talk yet?
Are you finished, Miss Huggins?
I'll yield to Mr. Tully.
Well, I don't know how things are where you people come from. But I'll tell you what I believe. There ain't no school anywhere fit to teach the kind of things you're talking about. A boy wants to know about that kind of stuff, he asks his daddy. And you have no right to take my place. And I don't need your help to do my job. Kind of stuff you're talking about belongs in the home. And I didn't send my boy to school to get no sex education.
May I speak to that point, please?
Very well, Mr. Dixon.
Mr. Tully, you couldn't be more wrong. I don't mean about your right as a parent, but VD education is not sex education. It's education designed to prevent a serious and crippling disease. And it belongs in a course relating to other communicable diseases such as TB, typhoid, and polio. We don't need to make moral judgments, and we shouldn't. We don't want to violate your right as a parent either. We're only trying to do a job that you've entrusted us with, and that is to teach.
I would like for the room to be cleared now so that the other members of the board and I can come to our decision.
Very good, Vivian. Very good.
Thank you. Good luck, Vivian. Thank you, dear. I got my fingers crossed so tight I'm getting whiplash in my knuckles. Oh, I'm so nervous.
I've been speaking to my boy. He's mighty fond of you. Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't think you'd be so... Well, I thought you'd be one of them young upstart types. I'm sorry to cause you so much trouble, considering you're...
That I'm as old as the hills? Is that what you're trying to say, Mr. Tully?
Well, I'll never believe what you did was right. But I can see you didn't mean no personal harm. So I wish you well.
Thank you.
Excuse me. I'm just as sorry as I can be, Miss Huggins.
I know you are, honey. Don't you worry about it.
It is the judgment of this committee that this case not be referred to the state board. There will be a fine. You will be notified in writing. And I would like your solemn promise that there will be no further violation of our existing code, no matter what any of us think of it. Agreed?
Wholeheartedly.
how about this?
What's that supposed to be?
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And a friend.
Those guys didn't have any friends.
Come on, man, we want to be in the yearbook.
Oh, forget it. I got better things to do.
Oh, man. Square, man. That's just a square. Come on, hey, man, give me that. What is it? Hey, I got these. Come on,
Now that's interesting. Smile.
Well, what happened to you two guys?
I stepped in a puddle.
Same puddle?
It was a big puddle.
Jason, have you got a project for Parents' Night yet?
I got lots of them.
Such as?
I was going to tell you tomorrow.
Maybe I can help you.
I sure do appreciate that, Mr. Dixon.
Tommy, what are you going to do?
Well, I don't know yet.
Why don't you and Jason work on a project together?
Me and him?
Why not?
In the first place, he ain't got no ideas, and I ain't got no ideas. What's the good of having no ideas together?
Well, together you might get some ideas. Each of you has a talent. Put it together, you might come up with an interesting project.
What's that?
Well, you can write. Jason draws. Pick a topic and do a series of cartoons.
Congratulations, Jason. It couldn't happen to a couple nicer guys.
Knock it off, man.
Excuse me, man. You got a problem, Tommy?
No, Mr. Dixon. It's just that it might be better if I didn't work with Jason on a project.
Why?
Well, he doesn't want to, and I'm used to working alone.
Well, for once, try a team project.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much we have in common.
Well, judging from your appearance at the present moment, I'd say you have a lot in common.
Thanks, Mr. Dixon.
Hey, man, what did he say?
What'd who say?
Mr. Dixon, about us working together. That's what you were asking him, wasn't it?
Yeah?
What'd he say?
Said we have a lot in common.
That means we're still working together.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of project do you want to do, man?
Well, I don't know, Jason. What do you want to do?
I don't know what I want to do, man. I'm asking you. What do you want to do?
I don't know.
Oh, man, we're going to be a big help to each other.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
When are we supposed to have our pictures taken?
Thursday?
Except better wear a shirt and tie, huh?
That's right. You shouldn't look like you enjoy teaching too much. I just saw a most unlikely combination. Jason Allen and Tommy Burns, and they were all muddy.
Yeah, I know. They fell in a big puddle together.
Oh, I'm glad to see Tommy doing something with somebody. I mean, he's bright, his record's good, but he never seems to get involved with anybody.
I know. He just doesn't really relate to other kids. That's why I put him and Jason on a project together.
Oh, yeah, maybe Jason would bring him out a little, huh?
I hope so.
Freaks.
They're not freaks, Dad.
I've never seen so many freaks in one place in my life. How do you learn anything in this school? You learning anything?
Yeah, it's a good school.
How is it they wear their hair that way? It's no wonder nobody wants them around. Sure, it wasn't like that when I was a kid. You stick to your own kind, if you can find one. My kids' clothes are ruined. And money don't grow on trees, Mr. Kaufman. I'm sure you know that.
I certainly do, Mr. Burns.
I work hard for my money. I don't sit around collecting welfare checks.
Well, I don't remember the last time I collected one.
Yeah. But you people do know a lot about money. Anyway, I understand that you people do have a special problem in this school. I know that.
What problem is that?
You got a lot of minorities.
Come in. Miss McIntyre.
Good morning.
Morning. This is Tommy Burns' father. Miss McIntyre is Tommy's counselor.
Hello.
Hello.
Mr. Burns was just explaining that we have a problem here because of minorities.
Oh, well, I hadn't noticed any real imbalance, Mr. Burns.
All you gotta do is look around the halls.
Or around this office.
Now that you mention it. Well, let's get to the point, hmm? Now, yesterday, some kids pulled my Tommy into a mud hole. And Tommy wouldn't tell me who it was. Finally, I did get him to admit that one of them was black.
That's the term.
I wouldn't be here if I thought Tommy could stick up for himself in these accidents. But he can't. He don't have my guts. Now, if I went to this school, I'd get a little respect.
I'm sure you would.
I don't want any special treatment. And I do know that everybody is entitled to an education. But I think you ought to figure out some way to keep these other kids away from Tommy.
Mr. Burns, I don't think the solution is keeping kids away from each other.
I guess that's one big difference between us, Mr. Kaufman.
One of them.
Well, Tommy has had this kind of thing happen to him before. I don't want it to happen again. I care about my kid, Mr. Kaufman.
Mr. Burns, we better get something straight before you leave this office.
What's that?
We care about your kid, too. Most of us wouldn't be here if we didn't. Because some days the fringe benefits on this job leave a lot to be desired.
Imagine that. A real live bigot right here in this office.
Not even a lovable one, either.
Hey, man, how you doing? This is a tough one. I'd rather write a term paper than do captions any day. Oh, I've got it. One hard hat says to the other, I'm going to vote. And the other says, if I were you, I'd vote for the candidate who's for increased medical benefits.
Hey, man, out of sight. I can dig it. You know, this whole scene is turning out okay, man.
Yeah.
Now, just hold that, okay?
Oh, Pete, how's Jason and Tommy Burns doing on that project?
Well, I think that they might come up with something.
I hope it's not Mr. Burns. Miss Johnson, it's for the yearbook, not a centerfold.
I don't know why they don't use last year's picture. Haven't aged that much in a year.
I wouldn't mind if they used pictures from several years ago.
Okay, smile. Who's next?
Liz, go ahead.
No, you go. You've got a class next period.
No, I have plenty of time. You go ahead, okay?
Will somebody please go? I have a dog show to shoot in 1 hour.
Oh, well, I wouldn't want to keep a dog waiting. I'll go. Pete, what I meant was, considering our friend Mr. Burns, I wonder if we're not doing Tommy more harm than good. I mean, by involving him in this work with Jason.
Nobody's got to break out and live his own life sometime.
Yeah, well, I hope he feels that way.
I think he does. I talked to him recently, and he opened up quite a bit.
Good.
Smile.
I am smiling.
If we could only keep working, then we could finish tonight, though.
Yeah, man. It sure is a drag.
Yeah, it sure is. Hey, listen. Come on over to my house. We can work there.
We can?
Yeah.
You sure, man?
Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, come on over for dinner.
Hey, man, you don't want to call home and ask your mother before?
No, it's all right.
Okay, man. I mean, if it won't cause no problem.
Oh, no. No problem. No problem at all.
Okay, out of sight. Come on.
You like this kind of meat, Jackson?
Jason.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. You get much cooking like this at your house?
Some.
Mostly soul food kind of stuff, huh?
Well, thanks for the dinner.
Mr. Dixon, I gotta tell you something.
What's that?
Me and Burns, we ain't working together no more.
Why not?
He invited me to his house for dinner last night.
Man, you wouldn't believe his old man.
What happened?
He just let you know right out front where he's coming from.
He put you down for being black, huh?
He put me down for being alive.
What'd Tommy do?
That dude, he didn't do nothing. Nothing.
Anything interesting?
3 marriage proposals.
3 marriage proposals?
I was only kidding.
Oh.
I only got 1.
From who?
I was still kidding.
Boy. What would you do if a student asked you to marry him?
Well, first of all, I check and see what kind of grades he had.
I can see today is no day to ask you anything.
You're right.
Are you Dixon?
Yes?
I'm Mr. Burns, Tommy's father.
What can I do for you?
I'll get right down to the point. Did you arrange for my son to do some kind of project with that black kid?
I arranged for your son to work on a project with Jason, another student.
I want you to unarrange it.
Oh, why?
Because I don't like that kid. He's rude. He was having dinner at my house last night. He just got up and left.
Just like that, for no reason, huh?
Just like that. It was insulting.
Oh, you were insulted?
Yeah. And I don't want that kind of manners rubbing off on Tommy. And besides, I think that kid is riding on Tommy's coattails.
Do you know what the project is they're working on?
I don't care what their project is.
Then how do you know who's riding on whose coattails or if anybody is?
I know the way it always has been.
Mr. Burns, what terrible thing do you think is going to happen if Tommy and Jason keep working together?
No terrible thing is going to happen because they're going to stop right now.
Let's get one thing straight. I am here for the benefit of the kids and not the parents.
I'm telling you, Dixon, there is something else that Tommy can do by himself.
But Jason's side is the whole story. My father never let up on him. My father. He's so out of it. Why do you think I have no friends? I'm afraid to invite anybody home.
I can understand that.
But I should be able to. I have a right.
Yeah?
Guess I have an obligation, too.
I think you do.
Oh, I should have stood up for Jason. I wanted to. But I was afraid. I wanted to, but I was afraid of my father.
Why'd you invite Jason to your house?
To work on the project.
That all?
No. I guess I wanted to show my father I could. To prove something to him and to me. I guess maybe I was using Jason.
I'm inclined to agree with you on that.
Dad said to cancel the project?
That's what he said. Look, what you do about the project is your own business, but
don't use Jason again.
See you later.
What's that? Glad you found that hat.
You Jason? Can I talk to you?
Sure, man, you can talk. It's a free country.
I'm sorry about last night.
Yeah, well, man, I don't like to be patronized.
I can't change my father's thinking. If he's narrow-minded and a bigot, it's not my fault.
Well, you could have told me that out front, man.
Well, I just thought maybe once in his life he'd be different.
You thought, man. That's not good enough.
I know.
You try to be a big man for your father, man. That's why you invited me to dinner. I know that.
That's only part of the reason. The other part is I like you, and I wanted to invite you to my house.
Oh, man. I can really dig that, man. I can really dig a friend like that.
Well, all right. I didn't stick up for you. I'm ashamed of it. I'm saying I'm sorry. I can't do any more, and if that's not enough, I'm sorry for that, too. But I'm not going to stand here begging you for forgiveness. I've said what I have to say, and you can take it or leave it.
Look, man, if you'd have talked to your old man like that last night, we wouldn't be standing here talking now, you dig?
Yeah. It's too bad about that. It's too bad about our project, too. You wouldn't want to finish it.
Well, man, I got all the drawings finished. Let's try to finish something together.
What's that? That is Jason and Tommy's project. Oh, really? I like it.
Isn't it funny?
Well, that's it. Oh, Mr. Burns.
Hello.
No, Mr. Kaufman, Miss McIntyre?
Yeah.
This is Miss Johnson, Tommy's English teacher.
How do you do?
Miss Johnson, I'm real pleased to meet you, Miss Johnson.
Thank you. Well, excuse me. I think I'm needed to dispense the punch. I'd really love to stay and chat, but woman's work is never done. Come on, Miss Johnson. I think they could use us both. Bye.
Bye. I came early. I'm working a night shift this week. Mrs. Burns will be along later.
Well, we'll be pleased to meet her.
Did Tommy get something together?
This?
The Working Man in America, 1970s style.
Take a look.
My kid did this, huh?
I think it's pretty good. Mr. Burns, it's from the humorist point of view.
I don't see anything funny in it. It's putting me down. I know the lingo.
Hey. Yeah, I didn't think he was coming.
Well, man, he's here.
You still working with that kid? You two put this thing together?
Yes.
I thought I told you to cancel him out.
You know something, Mr. Burns? I don't care what you said. I told you before, I'm here for the kids and not for the parents.
I don't want to hear any of your liberal double talk.
Look, it's not liberal.
I made up my own mind about the project, Dad.
All right, sonny boy. You hold it down, will you? Just try to hold it down and remember, I'm your father.
Well, I know that. And I respect you for it. But I want you to act like one. Let me do what I want and stop trying to make me be like you. You live in a little box. I don't want to be like that.
And what do you think you know about the real world? What do you think you know about how tough it is to get along? You just wait. Just wait until you get on the outside and you find that your friend is trying to take your job.
Well, he's entitled to try.
And who told you that? Your black pal?
Oh, boy, are you prejudiced.
Yeah, maybe I am. But for good reasons. I don't know what the world is coming to.
I knew I should have gone with last year's pictures. Look at this.
Well, that's not bad.
Hey, I like it.
It's terrible. I just didn't feel very photogenic that day.
But those are just proofs. You look fine once they print it up.
Yeah, but yours and Pete's are great.
Well, I like Pete's. I don't like mine.
Oh, you look good. You both look good.
Where's Mr. Kaufman's?
Well,
Oh.
Well,
maybe he's got a better one at home.
who cares how he looks? I mean, Mr. Kaufman's such a beautiful person inside.
Mr. Kaufman cares how he looks. Let me see that. It's a good thing for that photographer. I'm such a beautiful person inside.
Well, if there are no further policy matters requiring my approval, I'll leave you all to your own work.
Yeah, thanks for your help, Mr. Reagan.
Oh, where's so busy a lass and shaderness, and yet she seemed busier than she was.
There two shepherded and mark a thing. They could no wheat pinch at her writing.
Excellent, Bonnie, excellent. Ha ha. Chaucer, what an inspiration to us all, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, now, is the fiction material for the next edition shaping up?
Oh, we have a few things ready.
Good. We'll be hard-pressed to equal that last issue. Real quality. Thanks for your story, my dear.
Thank you, Mr. Dragan.
Oh, Bonnie, listen, I don't want to knock your stuff, but Mr. Dragan just doesn't know what's going to sell ads for this sheet.
What do you mean?
I mean that I agreed to try to keep the blue and gold in the black by getting people to advertise. But that doesn't mean getting the local fish market or drugstore. I'm after big stuff. I'm going to need your help in building up the fiction department.
The fiction department is very strong.
By Bonnie Sherman. The butterfly hovered over the nodding daffodil, then chanced to be sent. His soft, pastel-colored wings beating the air ever so gently. Come on.
There's a symbolism there you're obviously missing.
Obviously, so is everyone else at Walt Whitman.
I doubt it.
Well, ask him. All you're really doing is writing for you and Mr. Dragan. And Chaucer, an inspiration to us all.
Pete, I just know this is one seminar that will be most stimulating.
I appreciate you thinking about me, kid.
Look, it says here, role-playing for effective learning. 2 full days, $15, including lunch.
Isn't that the weekend that I'm supposed to help you, Liz?
Oh, we talked about it, but I wouldn't stand in the way of you continuing your education. I got to split.
See you.
Bye.
I'll think it over, kid.
We could go on to the university together. No sense in taking 2 cars.
Hey, don't you get too personal.
Hi. Hi. I want to ask you all something, very honestly.
Flat out?
Yes. Am I writing stories that nobody likes?
What story? For the blue and gold. The blue and gold, man, they can't even get the basketball scores straight.
You mean, do we like your stories? Not really. Nobody?
Nobody I've talked to.
Why not? I guess because the things you write, well, they never seem to have anything to do with what's happening today, or to us.
I haven't read one in a while, but are you still doing the birds and flowers and that stuff?
I guess. I'm sorry, Bonnie, but you did ask.
Forget the flower jazz and get the basketball scores straight.
Mr. Dragan, the fiction department of the Blue and Gold isn't getting through.
Isn't getting through?
The kids I've been talking to just don't relate to our material.
Well, I feel we've always had first-quality fiction, but perhaps we have overestimated our readers.
Oh, I'm not suggesting we write down to them, but if we could experiment with stories that are more vital, immediate.
Yes, I like that. There should be an experimental aspect to our fiction. We should be able to bridge the gap and reach our audience.
I'm so glad you feel that way, Mr. Dragan. I've written a story I'd like you to read.
Oh, marvelous.
It's very different from anything I've ever done before, but I found it exciting.
Oh, I'm sure I will, too. I'll read it tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Dragan.
You'll always find me receptive to the exciting and the experimental, Bonnie. We must always continue to grow and to reach out. Well, enough of that. I'll say no more until I've read your story. Now to words spake hay more than was need. Miss Sherman, Miss Bonnie Sherman, one moment, please.
Oh, hi, Mr. Dragan. Have you read my story yet?
I most certainly have. I've never had a more shocking or disillusioning experience in my life.
You didn't like it?
I found it conformed, unfortunately, to the standards of today, even to the explicit language.
But, Mr. Dragan, we agreed we should try something different.
This is the work of a confused and immature person. Certainly not a person to be entrusted with the fiction department of the Blue and Gold.
Mr. Dragan, I don't think that...
Miss Sherman, you are no longer on the staff in any capacity, effective immediately. Good morning.
What's with the reluctant Dragan?
He fired me from the Blue and Gold.
He fired you? Why? Did you misquote Chaucer? Did you put a comma where there should have been a semicolon?
I wrote a story.
Can I read it?
I don't care.
Hi.
Hey.
This is a beautiful story. You really like it? Mr. Dragan hated it.
Well, then you know it has to be good.
He actually fired you.
Can he do that?
In the bylaws of the Blue and Gold, there's something about a student being able to appeal any rule made by the faculty advisor. Appeal to whom? The principal.
Appeal. The publicity will double our circulation.
Bernie.
There's the whole question of censorship. Does Dragan have the right to decide what we can read? No way.
They can't do that to us.
Do what, Jason?
Whatever it is they're trying to do.
Well, it's very touching.
Yes, despite some of the situations, it really is moving.
Yeah, if it weren't for that word.
It's a tough position you're in. Tastes change, times change.
I still get in trouble with my grandmother if I say leg instead of limb in mixed company.
Most of those kids hear that word every day. I want to see what effect it really has on them. I mean, what do we really protect them from?
But does it belong in a school newspaper? I say it doesn't.
Oh, I agree with that.
So do I.
Well, thank you, folks. This is a very disturbing matter. It helps to get other people's opinions.
It's not easy to be a principal, is it?
It's not easy to be a good principal.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Kaufman?
Yes, Ken. Come in. Have a seat.
Thank you. I understand Bonnie Sherman has appealed my decision not to publish her story.
That's right. Ken, I've read that story. And after much soul searching, I've decided that I'm going to support you in the matter of that word.
Thank you. That story does not belong in the Blue and Gold.
I agree. However, I don't believe that it warrants Bonnie's dismissal from the newspaper staff.
Oh, I see.
Are there other circumstances that I'm unaware of?
No, I can't honestly say there are. The fact of the matter is I probably did act in haste and without due consideration.
It's not like you, Ken.
No. It's not, is it?
Bonnie, I've discussed your appeal with Mr. Dragan, and I'm happy to say that he's been more than fair in assessing his part of the situation.
Yes, I acted hastily in dismissing you, Bonnie. The newspaper needs you. I hope you'll forget what I said and come back.
I'd like to, Mr. Dragan.
Well, that's great. I wish all our problems could be solved that easily.
What about my story? Are you going to publish it?
I've reconsidered that. I reread your story, and though it's not my bag, as the saying goes, it does have literary merit according to today's tastes. So if you'll just remove that one objectionable word, the answer is yes, we will publish it.
I'm sorry. I can't accept your offer to reinstate me as editor.
Bonnie, it seems unfortunate that one word should create such a problem.
I agree with you, Mr. Kaufman.
I would hope that there'd be some way to work it out.
I don't see how. Not under these conditions.
Which particular conditions are you referring to?
Censorship.
I see. Bonnie, is this going to become a major issue on this campus?
I don't like to think so, Mr. Kaufman, but I do.
How did I know she was going to say that? Very kind of you to have lunch with me, Pete. Oh, why? Well, you risk your popularity being seen in public with the censor. I'll take that chance.
Mr. Kaufman.
Yes.
You won't believe what's happening in the students' cafeteria unless you see it with your own eyes.
Well, then I better see it.
Not one student has been in for lunch today. Not one.
All right. I see it. I believe it. Why?
A boycott. A protest against some sort of censorship. What am I going to do with all this food?
Can't you store it?
I haven't got the space. I've got 500 sandwiches, thousands of French fries, and yards of rice pudding.
Well, Miss Evans, you're welcome to use all the drawers on the right-hand side of my desk. After that, you're on your own.
Man, this is really something.
Best boycott we ever had.
I'm talking about my sandwich, man. The boycott's cool.
It's a tribute to you, Bonnie, not to me, to what we're fighting for.
If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be fighting.
Can you imagine how militant he'd be if he really read the paper? If they had any doubts about where we all stand, this should give them the message.
We should set up a timetable to strike against selected classes.
Starting with Mr. Dragan.
Yeah, and if they don't agree to publish, then a general strike.
It sounds good to me.
I hope they hold out that long, because the publicity would be great for circulation. And when
Bonnie, we're fighting for a principle.
Well, that's right. I keep forgetting.
Considering what's going on at Whitman now, this might be a good time to discuss this man. Who was he?
He published a newspaper in New York in colonial times. And he's called the father of freedom of the press in America.
Why?
Zinger kept writing editorials against the governor of New York, so the governor had him thrown in jail.
What happened after that?
The judge said he was wrong for printing the editorials, whether they were true or not. But the jury said he wasn't, and that established the principle of freedom of the press.
Hey, man, that's just what we're fighting for here at Walt Whitman.
Are you trying to tell us something, Mr. Dixon?
No. I'm just relating past history to present events.
Do you agree with what we're doing?
Well, if I were you, I'd consider the issue carefully before you decide to go to the wall.
We have thought about it.
And we're ready to go.
Then you go.
I must tell you, Mr. Kaufman, when I read that story, I couldn't believe our daughter had written it.
Well, in many ways, it's an exceptional story.
The language. I was really shocked.
Well, then, perhaps you can appreciate my position. The reason I asked you to come in was to try to get your help in heading off an action that the students are contemplating. One that I think would only create dissension between students and faculty and ultimately be bad for everyone.
You mean the possibility of a student strike?
Yes. I thought if we got together, the three of us and Bonnie, that we could come up with some solution to avoid a strike.
We wouldn't like to see it happen either, Mr. Kaufman. We also do feel, however, that there is a very serious constitutional issue involved here, in an area both of us have always been very concerned about.
Oh.
Yes. Censorship.
Right. Even though we completely understand your position, we feel that we'd have no choice but to give Bonnie our full support.
In what way exactly?
Well, I think it would work to the school's advantage, actually, by taking the issue out of the school and into the courts.
The courts?
Yes. We're going to sue you on Bonnie's behalf for what we believe are her very important constitutional rights.
You're going to sue me? You mean you're going out and get a lawyer and sue me?
I am a lawyer, Mr. Kaufman.
Oh, that makes it easier, doesn't it?
I'll talk to Mr. Dragan about it. Hi. Oh. Did you talk to your lawyer?
Yeah.
Can he be sued?
Well, there seem to be plenty of precedents. There was a principal in New York who refused to allow an article to be published in the school newspaper because he considered it obscene. Students sued. Principal lost.
What'd your lawyer suggest?
He says stay out of court. Because if I win, I'm a big oppressor, and if I lose, I'm a loser. Also, the school board's not going to be too thrilled about the publicity, but right now I'm more concerned with my conscience than theirs.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to go home, see if I can get there before my lawyer's bill. Morning.
Oh, I heard the bad news.
I don't suppose I need to ask what news.
I handled it badly myself right from the beginning, and if I hadn't, you wouldn't be in this situation right now.
Well, you did what you thought was best at the time. Ultimately, any question of censorship has to be my responsibility. But thanks anyhow.
Oh, Mr. Kaufman.
Morning, Miss Evans.
I'm so glad to see you. I heard you were arrested.
I don't think so.
Oh, Mr. Kaufman. I heard about you being dragged into court.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, Miss Johnson.
Well, listen, I'll do anything I can to help. Yeah, I've been to court.
You have? What were the charges against you?
Oh, I wasn't on trial. I was testifying as a character witness for a friend of mine.
I'd be glad to do the same for you.
Well, I'll certainly keep that in mind.
Hey, you know, with all that's been happening to you, it's as if you got that chain letter and threw it away instead of me.
Almost, yes.
Well, listen, if you need me, I'll be there.
Thank you.
Oh, I could have avoided so much for $2 in stamps.
Why should you want my opinion? I'm not on the staff.
Oh, I know, but I don't think we would have ever been offered this material before you began your fight to promote freedom of the press. That's why I think that you're better qualified than most to judge. Now, if you wouldn't mind just taking a quick look at one or two, I've marked the appropriate passages.
All right. Mr. Dragan, this is terrible.
Do you think so?
This one's even worse. Students wrote these?
These are the better ones, in my opinion.
Well, you can't compare these to my story.
Well, that same word occurs there, and there, and there.
But these things have no literary value.
In your opinion?
Yes, in my opinion.
Then if it were left to you and you decided not to publish these submissions, wouldn't you be violating freedom of the press?
That's not an easy question to answer, Mr. Dragan.
Oh, I know. One man's freedom of expression may very well be another man's obscenity. But where does one draw the line, Bonnie? You know, when a man has the power to exercise authority arbitrarily, but does so wisely and with restraint, he's a very rare man. And we're quite fortunate to have such a man here at Walt Whitman. I'm referring, of course, to our Mr. Kaufman. But then, of course, that's just my opinion.
A little while ago, Mr. Dragan showed me some stories that have been submitted to the Blue and Gold since we started our fight.
Everybody's getting interested, getting involved.
Well, they were terrible. It would be wrong if the paper had to publish that kind of stuff because of me, because of our fight.
That sounds like the beginnings of a cop-out.
Right. They're getting to you. Don't listen to them.
This isn't them against us. This is Bonnie Sherman writing a story. Mr. Kaufman drawing a line because it's his job and defending his decision with dignity.
I mean, you're calling it off, right?
I'm asking my parents to call off the suit. If you all feel that I've let you down or sold out, I'm sorry.
Well, there goes our circulation, our advertising, our publicity.
Bernie.
I know. It's the principle. Sue me.
I don't know if you're doing the best thing, Bonnie, but I think you're doing the right thing.
Thanks.
When you believe in something, you do it, no matter what it costs. You can't knock that.
Listen, something good may come out of this anyhow.
Like what?
Like maybe you'll start reading the Blue and Gold.
When they start getting the basketball scores straight. Maybe.
Hi, Alice. Don't interrupt me. I don't know how much time I have.
How much time for what?
To get 25 letters in the mail before I get caught in another round of disasters.
Does this have to do with that chain letter?
I got another one. They're giving me a second chance.
I thought you didn't believe in that kind of superstition.
Well, I really don't.
Well, then what are you doing all this for?
Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't. It's a waste of time. Isn't it?
I think so.
That settles it. I won't do it.
Very good, Miss Johnson.
Thanks. You know, without your support, I might not have been able to do that. See you later.
here, Gary's 9 years old there, yeah. I had that special made by a tailor in Tokyo. I think we still got that packed away someplace.
Gary's mother's very pretty.
Oh, yeah. And she's beautiful. Very smart, too. Of course, she had her own way of doing things. In fact, she reminds me of Gary in that respect. I always wish Gary had known her a little better.
Yeah, me too.
What's this?
Well, you can see there, it's just a couple of clowns. We buried each other in the sand. But it looks like one body with the two heads there, see? That was taken in France. You know, we've seen a lot of the world together.
And I take it, got an education in the process, huh?
I hope so.
Well, Gary's doing just fine in history.
That's good. You know, I think it's very valuable for a military man to be good at history.
Dad saw Patton 4 times.
Well, I knew the man. I met him once. You'll see what I mean about that history, though, when you get to West Point.
Is it tough to get an appointment these days?
Well, it's pretty tough, but I can take care of that as long as Gary handles those entrance exams.
I will.
You know, the Army is somewhat like a big corporation today, Mr. Dixon. I'm just a foreman myself, but we're hoping when Gary's my age, he'll be on top, maybe have one of those big executive offices.
I wonder what's going to happen to your enthusiasm when I outrank you. Start giving out the orders.
Gary tells me that you're going on some kind of high school speaking tour.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, the now Army wants me to do a little recruiting up in San Francisco. As a matter of fact, I was wondering if you'd be interested.
No, thank you. I've already served my time.
I was afraid you'd say that. Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Nice talking to you.
Bye.
See you later, Gary.
Bye.
What are you guys looking at?
Enemy at 12 o'clock.
Oh, man, you in for it now. You just wounded John Wayne, and that makes him mad.
Don't you guys ever get tired of kidding around?
A good officer never loses his sense of humor.
Okay, I give up.
He ain't even in the Army yet, and already he's surrendering. Man, you the first cat I ever knew that wanted to get in.
Well, that's because him and Joyce want to get married under crossed swords.
Now, wait a minute, guys. I just date the girl. Besides, a West Point cadet can't be married.
Oh, that's what makes him so mean.
Okay, I'll see you guys later.
Are you meeting Joyce?
No, she's not in school today. She's got a bad cold. Hey, you're out of step. I have a right to know. Look, I'll be right over. I don't care. I'm going to be right over.
Have you finished?
You know, I really don't think it's right for the guests to do the dishes.
Well, I made the dinner.
I threw away the can.
Look, I admit I only have one specialty, but I made it.
That's right, you did. And I did promise to share in the chores.
Right.
So your half of the dirty dishes are still in the sink. I was just kidding. Well, what shall we talk about? The merits of grading on a curve as compared with pass and fail?
I hope we can do better than that.
Somebody's at the door.
Mr. Dixon?
Oh, hi, Gary. What brings you here?
Well, I was wondering if I could talk to you for a minute.
Well, come on in.
Hello, Gary.
Hi, Miss McIntyre. I'm sorry, I didn't know you had company. I can talk to you tomorrow.
Gary, would you rather talk to Mr. Dixon alone?
Well, would you mind?
No, I can go for a walk.
No, wait a minute. Please stay, Miss McIntyre. Maybe you can help.
Okay.
Come on in. Sit down. Okay, what's on your mind?
Well, you know Joyce Parker?
Yeah, she was in my class last semester.
Yeah. Well, she and I have sort of been going together for a while, you know, and, well, she's pregnant.
Are you sure?
Yeah, she found out today.
She hadn't said anything to me about it, you know. I went over there this afternoon to talk to her, but I had a bad scene with her parents.
Well, you can't expect them not to be upset.
Yeah, but can't they at least act like people you can talk to? I mean, I told them that I intend to accept full responsibility for this whole thing, you know. But I gotta talk to Joyce. I mean, we understand each other. We'll work things out and we'll get married.
Do you love each other?
Well, sure we love each other. I mean, she's a terrific girl. We have little private jokes and everything, you know. We really get along. Yeah, we love each other. If they just give us half a chance, everything will be fine.
When does your father get back?
Day after tomorrow.
Does he know about this?
No, not yet.
Well, don't you think you better call him?
Yeah, I guess so.
You're welcome to use the phone in my bedroom.
No. I think, I'll probably wait and call him at home.
You know, that's not going to be an easy phone call for Gary to make.
It's not going to be an easy phone call for Gary's father to get.
Well, Pete and I figured you'd want to be aware of it.
Thanks. Of course, pretty soon everybody will know. This kind of news gets around.
Mr. Kaufman, I know we're not supposed to, but isn't there any advice? I mean, any way we could counsel them?
Liz, the rule says the school cannot get involved in family matters. You know that.
But we know some of these kids better than their own families do.
That's right. You know, this has happened to every school I've ever been to, and every time it happens, I just get more frustrated.
And we're supposed to guide.
Well, I console myself by asking if I could get involved. What would I tell them anyhow? What would you tell them?
I don't know. Each case is so different.
I mean, nobody was answering the phone, so I thought I'd go over there, you know? And one of the neighbors said that Joyce and her parents just drove off last night. They just took off.
Do you have any idea where they might have gone?
I don't know. I mean, I can't figure it out. How am I supposed to get things together with Joyce if I can't even talk to her? And what about me, my rights? I mean, it's my kid, too. This shouldn't just go off.
What'd your dad say?
Well, he's cutting his trip short. He's going to be back late today. He didn't say too much, but I could tell he was pretty mad. But he'll come around, though. I mean, I'm doing the right thing. And he's always been pretty big on that.
Sure he is.
You know, at first it seemed like I was doing the right thing, but now I know everything's going to work out. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it, you know? I mean, I've been, going to school for 12 years? It'd be nice to look forward to a change.
There's a lot more to it than just change. You're talking about a whole new way of life.
Yeah, I know. But I can take the responsibility. I can take care of a wife and kid. I'll go to school at nighttime and, work during the day.
A lot of people have done it. It's no picnic.
I'm really looking forward to it. And being a father. I mean, I'm pretty handy around the house. I can even cook a little. You cook?
A little?
Probably make some of the furniture. Better start with the crib.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things you're going to need.
I wonder if it's going to be a boy or a girl.
I want to know what you've been telling my son.
What do you mean?
I mean, I don't like some holier-than-thou school teacher telling my boy what to do about his future.
Well, what's it got to do with me?
You're the one he went to when I went away. Now he's talking about getting married.
Well, did Gary say that was my idea?
No, he didn't say that. But kids are influenced by people they admire. You know that.
I know. And Sergeant Webster, you're the one that Gary admires the most. And it's your influence that he feels.
You didn't push him a little?
I didn't push him at all. Marriage is Gary's idea. Well, I didn't try to talk him out of it. I didn't try to talk him into it either. The only advice that I gave Gary was to go talk to you.
You told him that?
Yes, I did.
Well, he came to me, all right, started telling me about these new ideas he's got. Well, I'm telling you, he's messing up his life if he marries that girl.
You mean as far as West Point is concerned?
That's right. Look, they don't have to have this kid. This is 1920. There are ways of handling things like this. I mean, legal ways.
I think Gary's aware of that.
I'm sorry for flying off the handle like that. We had a fight last night, and we didn't even speak this morning. I don't think I can get through to him.
Sergeant Webster, talking isn't enough. Try listening.
Yeah, listening to a kid who's about to throw his life away. You know, this West Point thing doesn't come up every day. Now, I may just be a master sergeant, but my boy is going to West Point. He's going to be an officer in the United States Army. That's been our dream since he was a little kid. Now, can't you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Well, maybe if you talk to him, you could convince him of what's right. I mean, he does respect you.
Sergeant Webster, as much as he may respect me, I'm only his history teacher. He's your son.
Thanks a lot.
From what you tell me, Sergeant Webster seems more concerned about Gary the cadet than Gary the son.
I doubt that he sees the difference.
Gary seems to have a mature attitude. Even if he's not ready to be a husband and a father, he's acting with responsibility.
I wonder.
What do you mean?
Well, Gary says that he wants to do the right thing. That usually means doing what's expected. Is it what he really wants?
Or what Joyce Parker wants? You know, he seems to have made this decision without even consulting her. Hey, how old are these kids anyhow?
Gary's 17 and Joyce is 18.
Well, then she's legally an adult. She has all the options.
That's right. Gary's got responsibilities and obligations, no rights. Does he realize that, Pete?
I don't know.
She can choose custody, adoption. She can do what she wants. She can leave school if she wants to.
But if she wanted to finish, she'd have to go to Cunningham, wouldn't she?
I'm afraid so. She wouldn't be allowed to continue at Whitman while she was pregnant, even if she wanted to.
Maybe she'll want to get married.
And maybe she's already terminated the pregnancy. She's been away a day and a half.
Hey, Mr. Dixon?
Oh, Gary.
Hi.
Joyce still out of town?
Yeah. Why do you suppose that is, Mr. Dixon?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to work things out.
Yeah, well, I don't think they should work anything out without me. I'm the father. I mean, he's my kid, too.
That's true, but do you know what your legal rights are in a situation like this?
No. What are they?
You don't have any.
I don't have any legal rights?
Not at 17.
Well, what kind of a deal is that?
It's a rough deal, but that's the law. So maybe your father can be of help.
I won't need any legal rights. Did, get a chance to see my father today?
We talked.
I suppose you noticed his way of changing the rules as he goes along.
What do you mean?
He always told me to act with honor, to do the right thing, and then when I do, he tells me I'm wrong.
Oh, after 17 years of planning on West Point, maybe he's a little disappointed.
Yeah, well, I'm a little disappointed, too. I guess I was kidding myself when I told you that he'd understand.
You give him a chance.
Well, why should I give him a chance? All he did today was yell at me about how am I going to support a family? How am I going to get an education, you know? Am I being fair to Joyce and our baby?
Don't you think those things really matter?
Well, yeah, but it's more like a cop-out for him. It's like a convenient excuse for me not to marry Joyce, you know? I'm going to raise my kid differently. You know, I'm really looking forward to that. You know, being able to influence somebody.
It can be rewarding.
Right. I mean, that's a father's job. I mean, it's a full-time job, too, to teach a kid respect for self. I mean, that's an important word to me, Mr. Dixon. I mean, by helping Joyce, I'll be helping myself to respect myself.
You certainly don't sound like you've been brought up by someone who runs away from things. You want to lift home?
No, thanks. I'm gonna stay with a friend tonight. Thanks anyway.
Where did you get that? From Miss Johnson, man. She's trying to get us interested in the classics.
Yeah, well, I'm interested. Read me some more.
Okay, here's from The Tale of Two Cities.
That thing by Dickens, right?
Not so you know it, man. It's a far, far groovier gig than I ever dug before. It's a far, far groovier way than I ever crashed before.
Hey, man, where you going?
Joyce is back. I just talked to her. She wants me to come right over.
Hey, say hi to her for me, will you?
Okay, I will, Bernie. Hey, thanks a lot for letting me spend the night last night, especially after what happened yesterday.
Oh, that's okay. I'll let my good friends push me around.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Okay, see you later.
Okay, see you later.
I guess getting married is better than the Army.
Yeah, I guess. A little.
Hi, Mr. Kaufman.
Morning, Miss Johnson.
This'll only take a minute.
Why don't we have a seat in case it takes a lot longer?
Well, now, Mr. Kaufman, I don't want you to say yes until you've thought about it.
I promise I won't.
What would you say if I told you I've come up with a whole new concept of education?
Well, why not? Everybody else has.
Well, read for yourself. One reading's worth 1,000 words.
One reading of selected poems and prose?
Mm-hmm. It's in the language of the streets. You know, the way people talk?
What people? On what streets?
Everywhere.
Oh.
No, don't read it now. Wait till you get home and give it your undivided attention.
Oh, Gary?
Hi, Mr. Dixon.
A little late, aren't you? Class was over 3 hours ago.
Yeah, I know. I cut today.
So, what's happening?
Well, Joyce got back this morning. I talked to her today.
Well, how is she?
She's okay. I talked to her parents, too.
Are they a little more relaxed now?
Yeah. Mr. Dixon, Joyce is going to put the baby up for adoption.
Oh, that must be heavy for you.
Yeah, she doesn't want to get married. She says she doesn't love me. She doesn't think it would be fair for either one of us or the baby.
Well, maybe under those circumstances, she's right.
Yeah, I guess so. But Mr. Dixon, you realize I'll never even get to see my own baby? And there's nothing I can do about it, is there?
I'm afraid not.
She even said the same things my father said about supporting a family, not being able to get an education.
Gary, you know, this isn't going to be easy for her either. Having a baby, then giving it up.
I guess not.
Let me ask you something. If this hadn't happened and you had gone on to West Point, do you think that you and Joyce would have gotten married after you graduated?
I don't know. I doubt it. We probably wouldn't even have known each other by then.
Something to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Mr. Dixon. The whole thing stinks. But the way things are, it's the best thing to do. Yeah, the right thing.
Well, can I give you a lift home? Or are you staying with a friend?
Oh, no, I'm going home, all right.
Oh, Sergeant.
Dixon,
Hi, Dad.
everything all right?
Well, I'll tell you about it on the way home. Okay?
All right. Look, I'd like to apologize for some of the things I said the other day, and thank you for doing what I should have done myself.
What's that?
Listening instead of talking.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Dixon.
Thanks again.
You mean you really can't see it? No, I can't. I just don't think it'll accomplish what you want it to.
It doesn't make you want to go out and read the classics?
No. It makes me want to watch television.
Oh, there's Mr. Kaufman.
Miss Johnson.
Hi, Mr. Kaufman. Well, what'd you think?
What I thought... Well, let me put it this way, Miss Johnson. I think the idea of approaching the students in an oblique way to interest them in the classics, which they wouldn't be interested in otherwise, I think it's a good idea.
But
I have read this volume from cover to cover, and...
And?
Well, look, when Edgar Allan Poe wrote it, the Raven said, "Nevermore." Doesn't that sound great? Nevermore. I mean, I just can't reconcile myself to no way, man.